Welcome to Hustle and Pro Season 2, talking sports in Frisco from youth to pro. Now here's your host, Kelly Walker.
Welcome to Hustle and Pro. It's Kelly Walker. And today I want to give you guys a heads up about two sports-related things that I have found recently during the stay at home and watch a lot of sports documentaries and find new things about sports to watch and listen to. I found a couple things that I want to tell you guys about. So one of them is a podcast. I'm telling you about another podcast to listen to. So hopefully you subscribe and listen to Hustle and Pro and get alerts every week when there's a new episode. But I found the Mom Game. So the Mom Game is not brand new. They started it in March, but I have just recently gotten into it and I love it. So if you guys are females listening to this podcast, you guys might love it too. So I love The Ticket. I love listening to The Ticket, and Julie Dobbs works for The Ticket. So she and Emily Jones host the Mom Game. Emily Jones is the Rangers bullpen reporter. I'm sure that might not be her official title. I've always loved Emily. She went to Tech when I was there. We weren't friends or anything, but I know that she was there, I think, about when I was. We overlapped a little bit, and I always have noticed that she knew what she was going to do. She knew what she wanted to do. She was ahead of the game, knowing she wanted to be working in sports, and was way ahead of everybody in making that happen. And obviously she did. She has a great career in sports. But Emily and Julie sit down and talk about being moms and working in sports and being sports fans, between the Dallas Stars, which is Julie's kind of wheelhouse, hockey. Her husband's a Stars coach. And then between baseball with Emily's work. They have a lot of really good insight. And of course, both being moms of each having more than one kiddo, it's just really interesting. As a mom and a sports fan, it's fun to hear them talk and things I can relate to. So anyway, go check out the Mom Game if you have time to go find them. Now, the second thing is something I came across scrolling on TV, like many of you have probably also been doing. So on Netflix, there is a show called Home Game. So the episode that caught my eye was a 36-minute long episode called Calico Storico. Home Game episodes are they're sports documentaries about social and cultural things around the world. They're inspiring, they're informative, and some of them I don't like, but some of them are really cool and interesting, like this one. So I have thought, being a sports fan my whole life, love everything about every sport, I thought I kind of knew about most every sport, right? Well, this is something I had never heard of. And it's an old sport that is really centered around and happens just in Florence, Italy. So it's kind of like rugby, but there's no rules. Some words to describe it would be a bloodbath. It's super violent. It's a 50-minute long game with one ball. There's two goals that run along each end of the field. It's really not a field. It's a dirt pile, kind of. And there's 27 players on each side. You get a point when you score a goal. If you shoot and you miss, the other team actually gets half a point, which is super interesting. So there's about 12 guys trying to score on each side. They have attackers, they have defensemen. If player is taken to the ground, you can get taken to the ground by lots of ways. But once they get to the ground, you can't get up until a goal is scored. Punching, kicking, body slamming, tackling, all these things are allowed. It's like bare knuckle boxing. They kind of use bare knuckle boxing to clear path to the goal. And it isn't just barbaric. There is actual strategy. They play or they practice and strategize and, work through plays to get their goals. One really cool thing about this is that they play for the district that they're born in. So that is so different from any of the professional sports that we're used to watching, where there's trades and drafts and all of these things that happen. You play for where you're born, and you don't change teams. There's red, white, blue, green, and you're kind of that for life. It's such a brutal sport. They only play one tournament a year. It started way back. I mean, this is a very old sport. And when it started back in, I think it was 1530, during a siege on Florence, they wanted to show the energy of Florence. And so they had these players playing for a prize, which was a cow, because resources were really scarce during the siege. And so the cow was the prize, feed them. So one interesting thing that has been carried out tradition-wise throughout the years is that the players aren't getting paid. So you'd think, all right, you're going through all this pain and maybe it'll be worth it. Nope, they don't get paid. They play because they play for Florence and they play for the glory and the tradition and the love, not any money. One of the guys talks about how it gives him a story. Like, this is part of his story. He says money is important, but having a story is more important. There are really extensive injuries listed in this show. I mean, ACLs and knees and broken bones and shin bones and stitches and face and all kinds of, probably hopefully some exaggerated stories also in there that hopefully weren't true, but knowing this sport, maybe they are true. It really is a battle that they might not come out of or get carried out of, might have to get carried out of. It's really interesting watching some of these players prepare. We meet Ricardo, I think, Lorenzo, a Raphael, and a Rodrigue. I mean, these guys are people that have regular jobs. Like, one of them is a PE teacher and then an athletic trainer. Lorenzo, our Mohawked friend, he's an electronic technical guy for a pharmaceutical company. I mean, he goes to a desk job. Some of the other guys are security guards and bouncers and things like that. But it's really interesting watching them prepare and talking to their mom, and the mom doesn't want to watch the tournament because it's so violent. And but these guys are so passionate about it, and they live for this. They walk you through what match day looks like and how this little mini tournament is set up and how the final match. It's traditionally played on June 24th, which is Florence's patron saint's feast day for St. John the Baptist. COVID postponed the tournament this year in 2020, so hopefully they'll get to either make it up or resume again in 2021. But the place that it's located, the plaza, is directly in front of the Church Santa Croce. It's always been where they play this final game. It's like a very, traditional, popular place where the whole city comes out and watches everybody and watches this battle, really. Even the costumes are interesting. They're kind of like pirate pants, but they have bright striped colors. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a horse jockey. There's some Hunger Games element to it also. That's really interesting. It's like fighting for your district and battling to the whatever it takes to survive and be the last one standing element to it. It's so emotional. I don't want to give everything away because I know I just gave a lot, but I want you to be able to go watch it. So I don't want to give all the little ins and outs away. So again, if you punch it up on Netflix, the series is called Home Game, and this specific episode is Calcio Storico, Calcio Storico, and that's what you're looking for. So the home game and the mom game are my two sports tips for you for today's episode. So enjoy, and we'll see you next week.